Instead of good morning, good afternoon. Isn't it interesting that when you get old, you can forget so easily? Got up early this morning, went to a Bible study at a congregation with a group of men, and after the Bible study, got home right at 9 o'clock, and then a guy took us riding around here in Mont Eagle for a little while, and just a moment ago, I said to Jackie, I said, oh, me, I hadn't done my morning devotional, so now it's afternoon devotional. But I hope you're having a good Tuesday. It's a beautiful, kind of windy, a little bit cool day today, but it feels good. This week is week 19. Today is May the 6th, 2025. Steve Bailey is our author this week, and he's writing about Remember Me. This is still in the section about the Last Supper on Thursday before Jesus was crucified. And as I said, next week will be within the hours of when Jesus was crucified. But today's title by Steve Bailey is Remember to Remember. Remember to Remember. Today's scripture is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23 through 26, and these are passages we read often before we eat the Lord's Supper. Here's what he writes for today. We're called to remember. Our deepest thoughts fly to the forefront of our minds. These are usually strong thoughts, oftentimes bringing with them a great deal of emotion. Maybe there's a great joy after seeing a picture of your grandchildren's first day at school. Just the other day, I reminded Jackie about seeing our grandson Jacob catch his first fly ball, and not only catching his first fly ball, but making his first double play as he caught the fly ball and tagged a boy out and got a double play. But I also remember in high school his very last double play. He was playing second base and was involved in his very last double play. So often things like this bring great deal of emotion, good emotion and sometimes bad. As he said, maybe there's a great joy after seeing a picture of your grandchildren's first day at school, all dressed up, anxious about what the new year will bring. Perhaps, he writes, perhaps you saw a scene in a movie that just grabbed your heart and took your breath away. Maybe you saw a television commercial during holiday season and you were swept away to a simpler time around a warm fire, sipping a cup of hot cocoa and surrounded by family and friends. Psychologists tell us that nothing steers a memory more than smell. I can recall going to my parents' house, he writes, after my dad died, just walking into that old house, and the memory of certain smells washed over me like a huge wave of emotion. Right before my dad died, we began to drive his old car, and after he died, Jackie and I bought his car from my two brothers. Well, we kept it several years and drove it, and then we gave it to our daughter. She was needing a car at the time for a short time, so we gave her that old 2001 Taurus. And I'll never forget one day she said, oh, I just love getting in this car. I said, it smells just like Papa Jim, and it really did. It smelled just like him. But he goes on to write and said, I made a quick trip to the bathroom where my dad shaved with an old shaving brush and a shaver's mug and some Old Spice. My dad was an Old Spice guy too. I still have a bottle of his Old Spice liquid soap. Each time I smell it, it takes me back to good times, he writes. It is remarkable that a small memory can have such an impression on us, isn't it? And then he writes this. When I was a child and did not know the true meaning of the Lord's Supper, I recall smelling the homemade communion bread as it was passed. You know, a lot of congregations, it's probably not many congregations do the homemade communion bread, and that we did it one time for a short time at the Petersville Church, and I just loved it better than the other. But says I can remember smelling that homemade communion bread as it was passed. Then came the tray with those small glass cups filled with grape juice. Oh, how I loved, he writes this, oh, how I loved that church building being permeated with the fragrant smell of grape juice as the tray was passed to one another. When Jesus instituted the Lord's Supper in that upper room, he was no doubt thinking of me and you, and having a rush of memories when we would partake of the Lord's Supper each Sunday. I have often wondered, he's writing this, I have often wondered at the Passover if Jesus witnessed the lambs being slain, the blood poured out on the ground and the pungent odor of blood in the air. Jesus is our Passover lamb. So let's prepare now for the Lord's Supper. And boy, it is time to have our mind right, our life right, our thoughts right, our actions right, and preparing right now to meet this coming first day of the week, this Sunday, meeting this Sunday and eating the Lord's Supper. So again, he writes, let us prepare now for the Lord's day and look forward to the blessed opportunity of communing with Jesus. And then he writes, today I will prepare, my tongue's ahead of my mind, today I will pray for God to help me prepare my mind, heart, and soul for Sunday's great feast. I like that. Pray for God to help me prepare my mind, heart, and soul for Sunday's great feast. You know, we will examine ourselves this coming Sunday as we eat the bread, drink the fruit of the vine, and not only examine ourselves, but we will proclaim the Lord's death till he comes. So hope you have a good Tuesday. Hope you've had a good morning and now about ready to have a good afternoon and evening, and hope you have a safe day and a healthy day. And please remember those who aren't doing well, those who aren't feeling well, certainly those battling cancer and things like this. Remember each one. But have a good day, and I'll see you sometime, hopefully in the morning. I won't forget.